Hello, my friend, and welcome to Pro Wrestling Daily. My name is Aaron Machbitz. The character arc of Chad Gable right now is very, very compelling TV. And on the June 22nd edition of Monday Night Raw, we saw a continuation of Chad Gable, making amends, pouring his heart out, apologizing, trying to become the babyface that all WWE fans want him to become. And the segment with Tozawa and Otis and Maxine Dupree was awesome. Chad Gable was in the middle of the ring and he poured his heart out while apologizing to all three members of Alpha Academy, right? Otis, Tozawa, and Maxine Dupree. It was about a genuine apology as you could make. It was so genuine. This is what Chad Gable is trying to do, be himself. He seems like a really, really good guy, and so he's trying to make that apology. He's trying to make that amends. And the crowd was practically begging the group to forgive him. And just when it looked like Otis was about to shake Chad Gable's hand, Maxine Dupree stepped in and cut him off, reminding everyone of all the abuse that Chad had put them through over the last 2 years. And that's really important because sometimes when people are transforming back to a babyface or back to a heel, they kind of just ignore and forget all the shit they did and try to have the fans accept them. It's really important to discuss who you were, how you did it, what you're trying to do to change, and why people should actually care about you and what makes them want to invest in you, right? We talk about heels have done horrible stuff, dastardly stuff, and now all of a sudden, they just want to be a babyface. They just want people to cheer for them. Well, Maxine is right in a sense that, Chad abused them, or whatever word you want to use, for a couple years, trying to, in his mind, make them the best they could possibly be, but not doing it in the best way possible. And acknowledging that helps the fans connect because we've all done stuff we're not proud of. We all done stuff that we potentially regret or didn't feel good about and want to make amends and want to apologize for and want to be forgiven for so we can move on and become the best version of ourselves. That is what Chad Gable is trying to do live on television, and he's really gaining the connection with the fans, the investment with the fans. And that's really what you need to be a great babyface in today's day and age. Some sort of emotional investment. And so that's what Maxine Dupree is saying. She then told Chad that after accomplishing something he couldn't do, winning a singles championship, she realized the Alpha Academy doesn't need him and is better off without him. The group walked away, leaving the crowd disappointed and Chad Gable heartbroken. This was, in my opinion, one of the best segments WWE has produced, and it's not even close. One of the best segments that WWE has produced all year, and it's not even close because it was real, because there's emotion, because there's an emotional investment, right? Chad is finally paying for his past sins and realizing that some things can't be fixed. There's not amends for everything. No matter how sincerely you try and make amends, some things are just too hard. And I thought this was a fantastic segment as Chad Gable's stock continues to rise. His babyface aura continues to rise. And so whoever put that whole segment together on the June 22nd edition of Monday Night Raw deserves some claps for that. So cheers, great segment. Obviously, the performers had to go out there and deliver, which they absolutely did. I think Maxine Dupree absolutely did, and I think Chad Gable did as well. And slowly, Chad Gable is going to become the biggest babyface in the company. And speaking of singles championships, I think Chad Gable cannot leave SummerSlam without the Intercontinental Championship. I think that's very, very important. And then at some point, I think Maxine Dupree is going to leave Alpha Academy for the Vision. And then hopefully the Vision gets suplexed by Chad Gable over and over and over again. And speaking of the Vision, they lost their tag team championships on the June 22nd edition of Monday Night Raw. And we have brand new tag team champions with the assist from Seth Rollins and Joe Hendry. The Street Profits defeated Braun Breaker and Austin Theory to win tag team gold for the fourth time. and Seth continues to kind of dismantle the monster he created one piece at a time. It looks like the final nail in the coffin will come at Night of Champions when Braun Breaker and Seth Rollins fight inside of a steel cage. Um, yeah, but it does honestly feel like this group has been running on fumes ever since Seth left. They've had a lot of injuries, a lot of ups and downs. And just like I said with Maxine Dupree, unless WWE is really planning to add Maxine to Dupree to the faction and bring Bronson Reed back as soon as possible, it might be time to bring the story to a close at Night of Champions. But if you don't, then you have Austin Theory, Braun Breaker, Maxine Dupree, Bronson Reed, Logan Paul's floating around. It still might be a usable faction. But if that's not the case, then have the story end in the steel cage match, and then have all the other sort of wrestlers move on to their individual careers, specifically with Braun Breaker. So I thought those those things stood out to me on the June 22nd edition of Monday Night Raw. Obviously, brand new tag team champions, potentially the end of the Vision, or potentially a revamped Vision with Bronson Reed coming back and Maxine Dupree, and Chad Gable continuing to raise his stock and become the babyface we know he can be by trying to make amends, and Maxine Dupree delivering with a great promo and kind of throwing a wrench in those plans. And so I'm excited to see what happens. And of course, you have Obafemi, Jey Uso. Jey Uso winning the King of the Ring will be a really bad idea. I already did a video about that, so check that out on the channel. But I think Obafemi has to win the King of the Ring, or a few other options might happen. Brock Lesnar attacking, some things of that nature. I think if Jey Uso wins the King of the Ring and main event SummerSlam, the WWE has done a really bad job, and Triple H should be removed from his position if that's the case. But we'll see what happens at Night of Champions. We'll see if Brock Lesnar comes back. We'll see if they use Randy Orton or CM Punk somehow. We'll see if Obafemi just beats the shit out of Jey Uso, or they have Jey Uso beat Obafemi, which would be absolutely wild. But I'm kind of just intrigued to see where that will go. And I'll do more previews for Night of Champions on this channel as we get closer to it. But let me know what you think in the comments down below. Drop your comments down below. I think I just said that, but yeah, cheers. Great. Drop your comments down below. Third time's the charm. And then like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys next time. Lots of love. Cheers.